Good morning. Today I'm going to share a list of therapists that create educational content online. They will help you break through the illusion of the gaslight in your narcissistic relationship, get the validation and the understanding that you need so that you can move on and create a life that is more worthy of your time with people who respect you and care about you. They will help you feel seen and heard and understood. They will provide you with compassion, and these people are truly trustworthy sources of information so that you know it's coming from a good place, which is going to help you rebuild trust in your perception. So yes, this is a list of therapists that helped me tremendously. I'm also going to make another video of books that helped me heal, books that gave me the clarity that I needed while I was healing from relationships with people that have high narcissistic or cluster B traits. And without further ado, let's talk about these fabulous therapists, because even strangers care, honey bun, and don't you forget it. Every single one is a YouTube channel. They may have other online content as well, but you will be able to find a wealth of information from each of these therapists right here on YouTube. Just a couple of free clicks away, honey. All right, first one is going to be Jay Reed, Recovery from Bad Childhoods. Jay Reed absolutely nails the narcissistic experience. He is a fabulous therapist with a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of understanding, very compassionate, excellent teacher, very good at conveying the information that needs to be understood. So he's particularly good for scapegoats of narcissists, especially if you were scapegoated by your parents or partner. But any type of scapegoating, he's going to be a great option. And then, like I said, he really understands the subtleties and the nuances of relationships with narcissists. So his channel is extremely validating, informative, clear, and helpful. He will help you heal and feel seen and understood, especially if you have had a long-term relationship with a narcissist. Next up is Ross Rosenberg. So Ross Rosenberg has tons of videos on his channel. He's been making videos for a very long time. He's the author of a book called The Human Magnet Syndrome. So he talks about why people who are narcissistic and then codependent come together, or just these different kind of toxic relationship dances that narcissists do with codependents or other narcissists or borderlines or various things. So he talks about the relationship dynamics with narcissists, and he talks about setting boundaries with narcissists. Setting boundaries in a hostile environment is something that he talks about that I really enjoy, but his videos are definitely worth checking out. Okay, next is a Canadian therapist named Lise LeBlanc. She's a therapist, author, and life coach with lots of informational content that help people that are dating female cluster Bs identify and heal from pathological partners. Her information is very straightforward, easy to understand, and has a wide range of helpful topics, like talking about the trauma bond, to how to identify that you're in a trauma bond, how to tell if you're toxic in a relationship, and then a lot of information on the cluster Bs as well. How to identify if you are in a relationship with the various different types of cluster B personality disorders, and how you might handle that differently, the different little nuanced ways that that might feel and what it might look like in a relationship. So she's very helpful. She also offers information in each video about things that you can do to heal, protect yourself. And her target audience is men, which I think is great. She is an advocate for male abuse victims. I know that can be a little bit hard, a little bit of a challenge to talk about. So she's a great resource for those of you who have been hurt by female narcissists. Patrick Teehan, he is a LCSW. Fantastic information about dysfunctional families, dysfunctional family systems, and how to heal, how to look at yourself, how to heal, how to take your power back. He does wonderful role plays on his channel where he shows conversations with, like, for example, this is just an example. He has a wide variety of them, but he'll do role plays and you'll see relationships with a healthy mother versus a codependent mother versus a narcissistic mother. He does that with various family roles and various mental health kind of conditions, and very helpful. I really like Patrick Teehan as well. Next up is Tim Fletcher. Tim started helping people as a pastor for over 30 years before he experienced his own significant personal trauma. He transitioned into the addiction treatment sector. Tim Fletcher is a pioneer in the addictions and mental health treatment profession. He's the founder and president of REACT, Recovery Education for Addictions and Complex Trauma. That's literally beautiful. That's all I have to say. He talks about addiction, codependency, narcissism, dysfunctional families, complex trauma, and how to look at yourself and how to heal yourself. He gives a lot of information that will help you understand where you're at and where you might want to go. Now, obviously, we mentioned that he's a pastor, and I have noticed in a lot of his videos that at the end, he does often share something religious, something that maybe he finds relatable or inspiring. And sometimes I listen, sometimes I don't. I know that that can be a conflicting topic for some people. And what I always say about religion, and of course, this is my personal opinion, you get to do whatever you want, but I just say take what you want and leave the rest behind. Tim Fletcher is a wise man. And just because he has some possibly different beliefs doesn't mean that he's worth discounting entirely, in my opinion. Again, do what you want, baby. I support you. Next up is going to be Dr. Les Carter at Surviving Narcissism. He's a therapist, he's now retired. He's been posting content on his channel about narcissism for a very long time. He is informed, validating, authoritative, and to the point. He's going to talk to you about the character traits of narcissists, how you might recognize them in your environment, and how you might survive them, how you might take power back over your mind, your actions, feelings, behavior, and keep yourself safe from narcissists. Does a lot of collaborating with other people, lots of great content on his channel. Next up is Dr. Emily Mayfield at Mindset Therapy PLLC. So Dr. Emily Mayfield has tons of information about narcissism on her channel. Her videos are short, informative, to the point, and educational. She says exactly what needs to be said so that you know that what happened to you. And then she tells you exactly, things to incorporate and integrate that information and new coping skills in your life. Maybe different behaviors that you didn't know that you could take that will help empower you more. Her videos are fabulous. She's very well informed. She's smart. And she has tons of videos on her channel that are going to help you understand with absolute clarity. She's going to help you empower yourself against them. Next up is Darren F. McGee. He is a practicing counselor and a clinical supervisor. So very informed, very trustworthy. He helps other therapists become therapists. You know what I mean? So yes, based in the UK, he has a very helpful channel. He talks about a ton of wide-ranging topics on narcissism, cluster Bs, dark triad traits, different personality traits. He does understand the little things about narcissistic relationships as well as how to heal from them. He's very validating. He's very kind. He will definitely help you get through that gaslighting and understand with compassion different aspects of dancing with cluster Bs. So I think you'll really like him, and he's a joy to listen to as well. Next up is a lovely therapist with a channel named Therapist Talks, Thrive Beyond Narcissism. Her name is Shannon Petrovich. She is an LCSW. She's very empathetic and straightforward. There's no bones about it. She understands what happens to you, and she's not going to let the narcissist get away with it. She's not going to be making an excuse for them like you can see sometimes on the internet, asking you to constantly have empathy for somebody who's harming you. She's a therapist with over 30 years, has tons of information on trauma bonds, why narcissists lie and behave the way that they do, not just lie, but why they behave the way that they do, how to heal afterwards, how to protect yourself from manipulation. And she's just a very wise guide through the narcissistic experience, which of course we know is not a fun one. Okay, and then the last one is for my deep divers. Now, this fine gentleman does not have his own YouTube channel. His name is Otto Kernberg, and he is what I like to call one of the daddies of narcissism. He's one of the leading psychologists who have put forward one of the 20th century ideas and thought concepts about narcissistic personality disorder, what the thought structure looks like, what's going on in the brain. The Borderline Personality Organization, which is different than the disorder, he's the guy that created that, I believe, and put that forth into the world as one of the underlying issues behind cluster B personality disorders. Anyway, if you search Otto Kernberg, and you can actually listen to one of the leading psychologists on narcissistic personality disorder, where other psychologists go to get their information. You can hear him talk. You hear him give lectures to other psychologists to help them understand cluster B personality disorders. What is a better resource than that, truly? So I will link some of those videos in the description box below. But that's really going to be for my deep divers. Otto Kernberg is incredibly smart. He can be a little bit hard to understand because he does have an accent. And, he's talking about something that to most of us lay people is pretty hard to understand. Like, it takes a while to wrap your head around for a lay person. But again, it's worth it. He's very knowledgeable, and it's great to hear his opinion. Of course, hearing a professional's opinion, like with as much prestige as he has, is always a joy. So that is an available option as well.